Hey guys, it's Katsuaki Cats on Camera, and today I'm doing my March wrap up. In March I read 10 things, and here they are. But before I start, I will say that I've been writing reviews for every book I read this year on Goodreads. My link's down below if you want to check it out. If you want to friend me, do so. I accept everyone. So first up, I read If I Was Your Girl by Meredith Russo. So yes, this follows Amanda, who is going to a new school where she's not known. She's moving in with her dad because at some point recently she has transitioned and she obviously wants to live without people knowing her past. She wants to live as a girl, she wants people to know her as a girl. So in this book we're dealing with her relationship with her dad that she's not seen in a while. Also there's a boy she likes and there's this whole romance thing going on. And yeah, it was just a really enjoyable book. It was quite fluffy, and to be honest I did see some negative reviews in the sense that people saying, oh, she's the perfect example of a trans woman. She passes as being a woman. She's had all the surgery. She's somehow managed to afford all these things as being a teenager. But what I say to that is, why can't trans women and trans men have a book that they can read where it is nice and they have managed to get all the surgery and pass and everything at a young age? We have nice books where it shows happy things happening, so why can't trans women have nice books showing happy things happening to them? Yes, it's not very realistic, especially in America, that someone so young will be able to afford all this surgery and be able to get all this done at that age. But, I mean, look at any contemporary. How likely is it that the ugly fat girl gets the high school jock that's really popular? It's not likely. It's not about being likely and being realistic in a sense. It's about the nicest possible realistic way that people can see themselves, so I really appreciate it for that. Obviously we do see some trials and tribulations that she goes through, but it's not like the biggest part of the story, and I don't think that that's a bad thing. I'm sure a lot of trans books focuses on the heartache and the sadness and everything like that, so it's nice to have one that's a bit more fluffy and a bit more upbeat and enjoyable, you know? And that's coming from someone who likes some harrowing books. Let it be. Next I read Noah Can't Even by Simon James Green. This one is quite a fun book. It genuinely made me laugh out loud a few times. It was fun. So this book is set in England. It's about Noah coming to terms with his life. Basically what happens, he's just chilling, he's with his best friend at a party, and his best friend, who is a boy, kisses him and sort of declares his love or attraction for Noah, and is a bit like, what the hell is going on? And yeah, it's just fun. Noah as a character is really fun to read. He's a bit geeky, he's a bit dorky, he trips over stuff and is just really awkward, and it's nice to read about a character that's a bit awkward. Next was my first reread of the month, and that is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Elias Staines. It's just enjoyable. I love the writing in it. I love following these two characters, and it's nice that it's about friendship and family more than a romance. People always categorise this as, oh, it's a romance, it's so cute. It's like, it's not though. It's not a romance. It's about two characters being friends and their life over a few years and their family life and stuff, so I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's a really great book. People just sort of categorise it in the wrong way. I also love the fact that Aristotle is just kind of a moody teenager. I think some people don't like him as a character, but I like him. I like that sometimes he's just sad or not okay. And it's not because he's depressed or going through anything in that mental health sort of way. It's just normal for teenagers to feel like that sometimes, and I like that. Next up I read El Defo by C.C. Bell. This is a non-fiction graphic novel. I say non-fiction, but I'm pretty sure she's not a rabbit in real life. But yeah, this follows Cece as she grew up as a kid. When she had meningitis, she became deaf, and then it's all about her being deaf as a child in school and dealing with that and having this massive thing she had to wear at school so she could hear the teachers and stuff. And yeah, I just thought it was really endearing. I love the artwork in here. It's just so easy to read, but also informational. So if you want to know more about sort of deafness and how different people deal with it, some people want the cochlear implant, some people don't. Some people want to do sign language, some people don't. Not everyone's the same. Everyone is as different as anybody in any other sort of group of people, so it's nice to see that here. Next I have another reread, and that is Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. The new book is coming out kind of soon. I mean, it's coming out a lot sooner as this sequel to Ari and Dante, which got announced in 2016, and still there's no information about it. So yay, at least Wayward Son is actually happening. We follow Simon Snow, who is the chosen one, and him trying to deal with this evil thing And also there's Baz, who may or may not be a vampire, and, you know, gay stuff. So the first time I read this, Baz doesn't come in until like 150, 160 pages in. It's like the first time we ever meet him. So because I knew that going into this the second time round, it didn't feel like it took so long for him to get there. Obviously the first time I was reading it, I was like, he keeps going on about this Baz, but who the hell is he? We still haven't met him. So yeah. But I enjoyed it more for what it was this time. Obviously when it was announced, everyone was like, oh, gay Harry Potter. But there's a lot of the backstory and the actual fantasy and the actual Chosen One arc. And then the sort of relationshipy stuff doesn't happen till way over. Next, I reread another book, and that is Lord Lost by Darren Shan. This is the first book in the Demon Arthur series, and I haven't read this since it came out, which was like 2007, I think. Some people get, you know, murdered in very gory ways, but it's Darren Shan for you. It's Master of Horror. So yeah, this follows Grubbs Grady, who is having just a normal old life, and then he walks into his house one night and his whole family's been murdered by demons. There's also a werewolf arc later on in this story. There's, you know what, a lot of this book I had actually completely forgot. I remembered the family being slaughtered part, but the actual storyline I couldn't remember, so that was fun reading it again. Second time, felt like the first time. And this is my last reread of the month, and that is Elephant Shoe by J.S. Edge. So basically in here we follow Mikey when he was younger, 11 I think. He was in a car accident with his best friend and his parents. His parents both killed, and his best friend and him got injured a little bit. And after that, his older brother shipped him across England, because yes, this is set in England. One of the reasons I love it. I love reading books set in England, side note. So yeah, he's shipped off to his grandparents' house, and then like 5 years later, his brother just randomly turns up again and says, "No, you're coming back to live with me now." So Mikey's not very happy. He feels like his brother keeps destroying his life and moving into places without him having any say in it. He didn't want to go there in the first place, but now he's got a life over there. He's being dragged out of it again. So yes, he is a little bit of an angry bean. He says some stuff to a lot of characters. He acts kind of mean to people, but I feel like it's justified, bless him. I mean, in his eyes, his older brother abandoned him straight after his parents died, so you can see why he has a bit of animosity towards his older brother and his brother's family. So yeah, when he comes back, he's forced again to go to sixth form, and there he sees his old friend, the one that was in the car accident, Tate. And Tate is a lot different than he used to be. He's very quiet, reserved. He doesn't talk to anyone apart from his next door neighbour. Everyone at school thinks he's a weirdo, and Mikey doesn't know why. So in here there's a lot of angst, there's a lot of people doing stuff that other people don't want them to do. A big part of this is a gay relationship between Mikey and another character, and that character also has a disability, which I'm not going to mention what it is because it's kind of spoilers in a sense that we're following Mikey and he hasn't found out yet, so I don't want to spoil it for you. And yeah, it's just a really good book. You should read it because it's good, and you should support indie authors. Next up, I read Not Broken, Just Bent by Mia Kerrick. This book is about two best friends, Ben and Timmy. First of all, I absolutely love the voice in here. It sounds like a teenage boy from the south talking. I just think it's great. It proper drags you into the story. It feels like he's telling you it. A+ for the voice in here. And yeah, it's about Ben and his best friend Timmy, who has a pretty shitty life. He lives in a caravan with his younger sisters and his mum and his stepdad. His mum kind of isn't around, she's got some mental health stuff going on, so he only has his stepdad there who treats him like shit and is abusive physically. And it's about Ben sort of being the rock for Timmy. I love the way this is told. It isn't told in chapters, it's told in like the week before my semester. I don't know how to say American things. It's told in like sections, so it will say winter of my senior year, and then it'll maybe be a few pages, and then it'll be like summer of my senior year, whatever. I don't know how American things work, but that's how it is. It's like the year being around, and then it'll be like the week of Thanksgiving, and then yeah, I just thought it's really cool. It tells you in sort of snippets, so we can have a scene between the two of them, and then the next bit it can be like several months later. So I feel like it could move the timeline forward without it feeling forced. For it being so small, it does have a lot of things in there, and check it out. Oh yeah, I don't think I mentioned they're also gay. Then I read Raise It Up by Nick Wilgus. This kind of had slightly similar themes as Not Broken, Just Bent, in the sense that our main character is in a family where there isn't a mum around, but that's because she died like really recently, but also his dad is really abusive, physically, verbally, sexually. It's not great, and he lives in a bit of a shitty place, kind of has to look after his family of brother and sisters. But this one is definitely a lot heavier than Not Broken Just Bent, probably because it's told from the perspective of the person that's in the house rather than a friend that's seeing it from outside and just seeing the effect. We actually read about the stuff happening, not just seeing the after effects. So yes, this talks about some really harsh topics, so trigger warnings for pretty much all the things. Don't read this if you have a nervous disposition, especially towards sort of child abuse from a parent. And yeah, this follows our main character, Cyrus, who, like I mentioned, isn't living in the best family situation. But also, on top of that, his younger brother, there's something sort of wrong with him. Something happened as a child, or he was born wrong. And he's basically a 10-year-old but acts like a 3-year-old. So yeah, he's kind of the main caregiver to his younger brother, even though he's only a teenager himself, and that puts a lot of pressure on him as well. And again, also, of course, there's a gay romance happening in the background with him and another guy as well, which I do think kind of happened too quickly, in the sense that they knew each other, but we didn't know the other guy. And like pretty much the first time they interacted, they got it on a little bit, not properly, but they both sort of knew that they liked each other. And I feel like we could have had a little bit more backstory between those two, so the connection felt real. But other than that, hard-hitting story, kind of hard to read, but a good book. Also, both of these stories do involve sort of fostering and being taken out of the situation, so if that's something you want to read about, there you go, 2 recommendations. And last but certainly not least, I read A Gathering of Shadows by V.E. Schwab. I like this book. We were introduced to some new characters. Side note, Alucard is my fave because he's really cool. And yeah, I don't want to say too much about this. It's the second book in a series, but I'm sure you probably all read it anyway. This is a series where different Londons exist in different worlds, and they have a certain amount of magic or not have any magic at all. And yeah, it's just cool. There's loads of magic. In this one, there's a tournament going on later on in the book. There's pirates. I mean, do we need anything else other than pirates and a magic tournament? No. So yes, there we go. Those are all the books I read in March. And side note, I somehow managed to accidentally colour code them. The first half are blue and the second half are red. Who knew? So yeah, let me know down below if you've read any of these, or if they sound interesting, you want to check them out, let me know down below. If this is your first video by me, you enjoy it, then please check out some of my others. And if you continue to enjoy it, then please subscribe, that'd be awesome. Anyway guys, I'll see you in a few days with another video.